Hello everyone, welcome on a new episode of Robert Spotlight.
Robert Spotlight.
Robert Spotlight. Robert Spotlight. Robert Spotlight.
Doing all this moderation stuff for Discord.
I'm a social media futurist.
Been a moderator at VFriends.
Now it's my project because I love sports.
I'm speaking at NFT NYC.
Welcome on the show. Welcome everyone, welcome on a new episode of Robert Spotlight and Robert Spotlight. Today, Arvin, welcome on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So, could you introduce yourself for people that don't know you?
Absolutely. So, my background in the crypto, I was introduced by a good friend of mine, Nick, to crypto in 2016, and then I was working primarily into the paid advertising side of things with businesses, all the way from small businesses to public companies. Toward 2021, I was mostly focused on investor relationship marketing with public companies, meaning finding short-term and long-term investors online, spending up to $500K a month for companies, just managing that dollar amount to find investors to basically buy shares and then hold. So that was my experience. And then in 2021, there was an artist from Italy, had a one-of-one collection. He reached out to me and said, "Hey, you've done all this stuff with public companies. Can you do the same for his NFT collection?" Didn't think much out of it, but I did it. We sold out in a week. And then that was a proof of concept for me to just think, okay, that's really cool. I want to keep going. And then I started basically letting people know that I have my own way of doing NFT marketing. And then since then, we created an incubator. We have done a lot of advising with Web3 projects. And then also CMO services where, I would take on the entire marketing for projects. Ratio in the bear market, somewhere around, I would say, 67% success, which is a lot higher than a lot of other agencies. And then that's predominantly what we do. So in fact, Web3 marketing is the only thing we do as of 2021.
Perfect. So I'm going to read your Twitter bio. It's only 8.75% of your whitelisters buy NFT from you. There are better ways to sell your NFT collection. Ask me how. So, or someone.
I mean, I don't know how much your audience looked into the evolution of marketing for NFT projects specifically. And it goes the same for, coins and I guess fungible tokens as well. But it used to be so much hype around whitelisting back in, I want to say, mostly 2021, where you would see job posting on different freelance platforms like Upwork, Fiverr, different places. People would get paid hourly for $500 an hour to literally just get a whitelist spot from a specific project. And that just kept going, right? So it became more and more valuable until it became absolutely useless. And to the point where we actually counted for one of the projects in my incubator, they had 30,000 whitelisters. And I've never seen that in my life with any projects, with 30,000 whitelisters. And then when we actually calculated how much of the whitelisters actually bought NFTs, was about 8.75%. And we did it. We actually calculated for another project at the same time for our incubator. And then that was really the time for me where I just drew a stand in the line and said, no more of this. We're gonna do it differently. And it's not really worth it time-wise. And then also, I guess it's not efficient to have so many whitelisters, only 8% of them if they're gonna convert and buy NFTs. So what we do instead is we do it differently. We do it either with a tokenized version, meaning people have to buy tokens so they can actually whitelist, or we actually make it so that people literally like pay for the whitelist spot, just like, let's say your girlfriend, if or your wife, if they do their nail salon appointment, they have to reserve their spot by just leaving their credit card on file with the service provider. Just like that, we made it so that on whitelist spots, people have to actually pay a certain dollar amount, or it could be in crypto or dollar, it doesn't matter, crypto and fiat. And then once they bought the NFTs, then we should return that money to them. And so we've evolved the way whitelisting works to the case that it's not just given away, like everyone's just giving away whitelisting for collabs, for this, for that. So we've changed that, and that's working for us right now.
Okay, perfect. So you say two things. So you say, so the first way for me, I interpret that as a min pass, right? So it's like you have to buy something to be able to buy another thing, you know. So for me, it's a kind of a min pass. And the second way, it's like you have to you know, to stake something, you know, to be able to be whitelisted, and after we are going to get back to you the staking, right? Did I get the two way properly?
Yeah, it's about the commitment. So what happened was so the reason this happened was somewhere around, I want to say January, February of 2022, we had about 500 projects entering the market just on Ethereum alone every day. And this just got so saturated, especially Ethereum blockchain, so saturated, where giving a whitelist away to people was something that everyone was doing. And then imagine if yourself, like you're on Twitter, and then you were given a whitelisted spot from 20 different projects this month. Are you going to buy all the 20 NFTs? No. Maybe you would, but most people don't, right? And so what happens was there was no commitment. And so because it was just given away. So then we made it so that people actually had to commit. So that was the difference.
Okay, perfect. So for me, the second way, it makes sense for me. But on the first way, you know, the min pass, it's something that existed way before, you know. So did you have implemented any innovation regarding the min pass, or it's just a regular min pass?
So when you say mint pass, what do you mean? Do you mean people have to buy another NFT to be able to get whitelisted?
Yes.
No, so not necessarily that. So what I mean by that is it could just be simply as let's say a token that you would launch. Let's say there's the token called SHOW, show, right? And then I, as a let's say potential lead for your project, I would have to buy a certain amount of tokens to be able to participate in your project. And then once I participated, then I have the choice to actually for you to return those tokens back to me. So that's the concept. Again, it's all just around commitment. It's got there's nothing crazy about this. It's just that we did it, and it came out of in the Web 2. So I worked with a lot of Web 2 companies, obviously, especially tech companies like software as a service, SaaS companies. We had this thing, and you probably have seen it if you're in this industry. So you go to this website, tech companies' website, and you see they say $1 trial, $5 trial, versus it's just a free trial, right? So that was the difference, where at some point someone thought, okay, if we do even a $1 trial, it's going to make a difference where people have to actually commit. And someone who is more of a tire kicker would not even pay that $1. And that was the difference the tokenized whitelisting actually made.
Okay, perfect. You said previously that at some point 500 new project was coming on the Ethereum blockchain alone. How have you been able to track these numbers?
Oh, there are different things you can do. OpenSea, the largest platform for Ethereum, they have somewhere around, I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere around 1.5 to 2 million active wallets, if I'm not mistaken. And then by June of 2022, it became somewhere around closer to like 500,000 active wallets, obviously because of the bear market and so on and so forth. Now, if you just go on OpenSea, OpenSea has an open source API. You can actually extract the data for how many collections out there, there's a lot of things you can actually pull. You'd be surprised. But that number, you can actually pull it. And then that's true for Magic Eden. That's true for, let's say, Sologenic. That's true for all, I don't know if all the platforms, but some of those are at least big platforms that I just mentioned. And then what you can also do, so that's one way. Another way is there are companies like nonfungible.com, let's see, analytics, I believe it's called data analytics. So these are two different companies. That's all they do. They just farm data from these platforms, from the internet, and then they report on it. I know for sure nonfungible.com, they have a quarterly report and they tell you here are the numbers, here's where they think this is going, so on and so forth as well.
Okay, perfect. So you are the founder or CEO of Sold Out, right?
Yes.
Sold Out NFT. What are the other things that Sold Out NFT is doing?
In what sense?
In the sense of NFT marketing. So here you talk about the big workaround, the big shift about whitelisting. It's to make a commitment. What are the other things that you are doing for your customer?
Yeah, so if you ever listen to anything I've had online on different podcasts, and we have our own YouTube channel and different places, basically my approach is that there's no one cookie cutter approach for everyone. So every project I treat it as a new product, new service, new project. And so there are a lot of things we actually do. There's about, I want to say, 5 different ways that we do things. Now, so I mentioned to you a few, and then there are other things. For example, we have one way that's called a direct sales strategy. I may be the first one actually did this, or maybe amongst the very few. Most probably because I literally came from the paid ads industry, the media buying. And so first thing I wanted to try in the Web3 was literally paid ads to see what happens. And what we do is we create an ad on Reddit, on Twitter. So these are called, so on Twitter, it's called promoted tweets. And on Reddit, it's just called Reddit ads. And specifically mention what the project does, what are the values, utilities of the project, and then a link to the mint page. Now, there was one specific project, not going to name, but people can go sold.nfts.io, see the case study. They came in with $20,000 marketing budget, and then they were able to recycle that money to $130,000. And I explain to you in a second what that means. And then from that marketing budget, they were able to get about, I want to see if I'm quoting it correctly, and $896,000 or $986,000, so shy of $1 million in sales. And this was in June, either June or August 2022. So it's during the bear market. Now, past that, we've done it for several other projects as well. Some of them are 80%, 90% sold out. So basically, the concept is, instead of wasting people time and just say whitelist, just wait for a few months, you just tell them, be like, hey, here's a project, here's a price, go buy it right now. And then some people actually enjoy that. They're like, hey, I don't have time for 5 weeks to just spend, to understand something about your your project through your Discord, games, and so on and so forth. And there are literally people like that. They don't have time. They don't have time to do that, right? So, and then plus also, it's NFTs are not hypey anymore. So there's nothing to like be hypey about in your Discord. So why do I need to spend a few weeks in your Discord before you tell me go mint this NFT? Why not just do it now? And so that's why this strategy worked out. Now the tokenized strategy I mentioned to you, that the latest one we did that was in November 2022. I want to say end of November 2022, and the marketing strategy that we created was just the tokenized whitelisting, and the marketing spent was about $130,000. Total sales, primary sales, of course, there's obviously projects that have secondary sales, do merge, all sorts of other things, but just primary sales is $1.5 million. So these are two different, very, very, very different strategies that we've implemented in the bear market. And we actually openly share literally everything about it on our website. People can go on case study section on our website, see it. I noticed a lot of agencies, they just say, oh, they're under NDA, they can't share. And sometimes makes me think they don't have anything to share. But we just very transparent, like people can actually go read literally every single thing we've done with this project as if they can just like literally copy paste it like to that level. So
okay, perfect. But if I have my math right, it's a 4 strategy and you say 5 because there is a kind of the commitment for the whitelisting, you know, the kind of what I call min pass, the staking after you say the direct sales, and here you talk about the tokenization, you know. So what is the number 5, or maybe I get it wrong?
Yeah, there's a bunch more. So we've done it the Web 2 strategy where literally influencers just we actually created a platform for influencers where they would literally become an affiliate of your project. They would talk about your project online, and then as they're making sales, the minting happens in the background, and then they get paid of any sales that comes through instantly. And so that's essentially bringing another Web 2 type of thing where they think about like influencer marketing, which is still pretty prevalent in the Web 3 as well, but we just changed it so that it's they get paid and they're incentivized to just talk about a project online, as opposed to an influencer get paid, let's say $5,000 up to $20,000 for one YouTube video, and just say, hey, this is a really great project, go check it out, which makes no difference. So
okay, perfect. Makes a lot of sense. Do you have you built some proprietary project around sold out NFT?
Project, or what do you mean?
No, you know, project. You know, so here you talk about tactic, about what you can be doing even in a bear market to sold out. And my question, because here you start to elucidate the fact that something is happening in the back end, and directly my mind went on the technology project. Absolutely. What can you say about that?
There's plenty, and I continuously do that. Like I actually tell you, the first $100 I made online was from a technology. This is back in 2012, where, you know, back in the day where Facebook Lives were just coming out, I think, if I'm like talking about it correctly.
So it's 2017, right?
No, Facebook Lives. I can't remember was it 2017? Is that what it was?
I believe so. It's
okay,
what I have in mind, but
maybe as possible. Anyways, somewhere around there, between 2012 until 2017, somewhere around there.
Okay.
So Facebook Live just came out, and then there was this rush of tech companies creating Facebook Lives that was present for more than one person. So initially, you would be able to just, let's say, one person with their personal profile would do just Facebook Live. You would see that person talking. And then first thing came to my mind when I saw a first Facebook Live, and I was like so they rolled it out to some people before other people. I was like one of the early ones that got it. And then first thing that came to my mind, I was like, how cool would it be, just like how we're on this platform, how cool would it be if I could bring multiple people on a Facebook Live? That would be super cool. And then, so I thought about it. I was like, okay, that's really cool. I wonder if there's a way to do this. And then at the same time, there were many platforms, like, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and I think almost all of them, they're not actually functional anymore. But I think one of them was called Beehive, if I'm not mistaken, back then. And then you would be able to connect it to your Facebook Live, and then you would be able to bring additional people to your Facebook Live, which was really cool. So it was super exciting. When people would see it, they'd be like, wow, this is really cool. And it was just a podcast, but it was like a live podcast. And so that was a big deal. So then what I did was, back then I created one. I created a similar, I guess, technology that was allowing people to do that. And then I was getting like crazy views, like 20,000 views back then, without having like, many followers. I think I had like maybe 2,000, something like that, followers. And then, so that was, now on those, then I thought, okay, well, how cool would it be if I turned that into an online webinar? And then, so one day, one of these Facebook Lives, after talking to people, my audience, for 40 minutes, I said, hey guys, I have this product, by the way, that is $100, and I think it was like $120 if I remember correctly. This is years ago. And then, if you want to buy it, I'm gonna drop the link in the comment section. And the only reason it was because I was just like, who is so interested in my stuff that's like listening to this for 40 minutes in a row live, without me promoting this, telling people what this is about? I was like, these guys just must be so interested. So let me tell them about the product that I have. And then, so I posted in the comment, didn't think of it. Like, I didn't even go check to see if we have sales. And then an hour later, the person I was doing that Facebook Lives with calls me and is like, so one of the people in the audience actually bought it, just messaged me saying, this is so cool. I'm like, what? Like, someone actually bought this? Like, we literally just post in the comments. And so that was the first, I believe, amongst the very first actually sales I had online, just because of the technology. So since then, inside the Web3, any opportunity I get to actually create something, I do it. So for example, we have, so one of the things we just recently created, a lot of times projects come to us, and I mean, trust me, like sometimes they spend 800K, 900K on their Web3 projects. They come to us and they're like, their social presence is trash. And then I look at their stuff. The Twitter, for example, has 30,000 followers and it's all fake. So you can't really remove followers one by one if it's 30,000 followers, and there's no software for it. So what I did was I created our own software, let's call it a script, where it actually goes to through your followers and actually removes them automatically. And so that's been a huge success for me, actually taking on projects that have a lot of fake followers and just removing all the fake followers and then actually starting from scratch. Literally, like these guys went from 30,000 to about 10 or 11 followers. And then we just started from scratch. And that's actually working much better. So that's like one technology. We have several other technologies we just created. There's nothing, I wouldn't say they're like Apple or anything in that comparison level, but it's just very functional, and that's what we've been using. It's been very helpful, very useful. It took us about like a few weeks to create it. It's just out of necessity.
Okay, perfect. And how do you find out that it's a fake follower?
I don't. So the actual technology does. Now, I think the current version is set that so it just removes based on timing, based on specific parameters. It's not so much of like looking for if this person is like real or not, or it's like fake, or like go through the comments or anything that complicated. It's very basic in its I guess functionality. But the biggest use case it has currently, as it stands, if you want to remove your Twitter followers, you have to go do it one by one. You literally have to go click and then remove follower, click, remove follower. So we just cannot do that as a team that's just wanting to, let's say launch a project in 4 to 6 weeks and sell out a project. We just simply do not have the time capacity to even, we tried like having every person just be like, do 1,000 a day, but it takes such a long time where it was just not possible. So then I just, I was like, okay, we must figure something out. So I met with my dev guy and said like, here's the plan. This is what we're trying to create. And then, a few weeks later, we have it.
Okay, perfect. And there is a last question about that. There is no condition where Twitter can see that as a signal to cancel the account.
So,
if there is no limit, if it's too brutal.
There is a limit. And so for someone who's trying to create anything like that too, you got to read all the documentation that Twitter has. So there are rate limits, and this is rate limits on any social media platform. So for example, on LinkedIn, you can only do 150, I believe, 150 actions a day. The moment you get past that, basically you get into the LinkedIn jail. I don't know if you remember back in the day, there was a movement of, there was the movement of this strategy where you would Facebook message many people, then tell them about your project, your Facebook group, this thing, that thing. There was back in the day, it was like really hip. And then after a while, you would go into the Facebook jail. You couldn't message anyone, and so same thing. All these platforms have a rate limit, and you just got to find out that number, and then you create it so that you don't hit that number. You're below that. And then we haven't had the need to get past the rate limit to come up with other strategies. You can always figure something out, but we never had to. So,
okay, perfect. What are your thoughts on ChatGPT? Are you using ChatGPT at this moment?
Yeah, so it's very interesting. I've been thinking about that a lot lately, and I've been thinking about a few angles. One is content creation, and then how that impacts SEO. So we have people in my company that we're creating content, and then we said, okay, what if we just have it that essentially the AI creates this content, and then we just have someone in our team that knows how to actually go through this content and just be able to edit it to the point that's relevant, accurate, so on and so forth. So that's one angle. Second is we just recently chatting with our partner agency, and I was just talking about, I'm like, hey, like I'm thinking publishing a book, and then what are some things we need? So we just put it on the AI, like, hey, how do we publish a Amazon book? And then we get really good answers. So that's been very functional. It's been a really good use case. But I'm also thinking about, how to elaborate that. Like I see, I guess software integrations are being built on WhatsApp, for example, and so on and so forth. So all these different things, I'm very, very alert on that right now, to just see how we can incorporate the AI into our business, where we can help people on a either larger scale or on a scale that's more accurate, or just more efficient.
Okay, perfect. What is your biggest problem at this moment? Running sold out NFT.
Selling out NFTs? I mean, there's a lot of problems. I mean, one big problem, I would say there are a few, but there's one big problem is people is still in the mindset of 2021. They still think NFTs are really hypey, and they're trying to buy followers, buy Discord chatters. They pay people to show up on Twitter Spaces. All these things, it's just insulting people's intelligence. And so this is just not working, right? So when projects come to us, they've already done a lot of these stuff. So we have to clean that up. We have to literally clean everything up and then actually build it from the scratch. So that's one big problem. The other big problem is the market sentiment. So we have to be careful around how we, what choice of blockchain, the pricing, because like here's the thing, like most people don't even know that like they shouldn't just go pick, for example, Ethereum for launching their project. So they go build everything on Ethereum, and then they come to us. I'm like, hey, listen, for your project, this is specific price, this is specific artwork, this is specific, let's say, blockchain. That's more appropriate. But most of the times, by the time people come to us, they've already done all of that. And then they come to us and they like just market it. And we're like, well, you know, you like, for example, like I want to just talk about, this is back in when we didn't have ETH 2.0. And I, like, let's say I come to you and be like, hey, my project is all about global warming and I want to launch it on Ethereum. It's like, okay, that makes no sense. Why would you do that? And You've already paid for a smart contract, your mint function on the website, all the copy, white paper is all about Ethereum, why you chose Ethereum. It makes no sense, right? So a lot of times I think our biggest challenges is like people have no idea when like how to go it like about this properly, because back in the day it was okay. You could probably get away with that. You could be like, hey, this makes no sense, but people would still buy it, right? But now everything on your website, everything on your white paper, like we'll literally go through word by word everything you have, and then we got to change it. And founders are sometimes surprised. They're like, wow, we need to really do all this stuff. It's like, yeah, you really do need to do all of this stuff. So I think that's that shift of mindset from, hey, like this is the hypey time is over. You actually got to produce like really good projects. I think that's our biggest challenge, where people sometimes are still stuck. They like to see things that are just easy shortcuts, and things that just sound really cool. Like that's the biggest challenge, I would say.
Perfect. And do you help some NFT founder to you know, on the advisement, you know, to say, okay, consider that, consider this, or do
100%. I prefer that. Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
I honestly prefer people come to me before even they do their art, like everything. Like I want to have a say in everything they do, because I just seen enough where I can tell them, say, hey, for this specific blockchain, for this use case, for this type of let's say game you have, or for this type of price point you want to have, or this type of like sales you want to have. People have different goals they come for, right? And then based on that, just say, hey, here's my recommendation. Here's what you should do.
Okay, perfect. And do you have kind of a structure of, you know, let's say that there is a founder that come to you and it's at the stage of, I did anything and I want to have an advisor from you. Do you have kind of a structure on the what question are you going to ask and on which categories?
Yeah, so it goes something, there's a lot, but it goes something like this. It's like, okay, what are you trying to accomplish, right? So it's just like a lot of people sometimes, I sit on sometimes startup pitches like contest, and then people talk about how they incorporated blockchain, and then the first question all the investors gonna ask be like, why? Why did you incorporate blockchain? It makes no sense. It has no use in what you're trying to do. You're just trying to like use the use the name to make it cool. So point being, we get to the bottom of, okay, why do you want to do this? And it's 100% okay if you just want to make money with integrity, of course. Meaning you want to just make money and you just want to create some product that people going to use, or a project that's going to be useful or wanted, desired by people, and all you want is just make money, and then you have this integrity around it where you're going to deliver. That's completely fine too. But sometimes it's also like they have a business, they want to integrate NFTs into it because they get to be relevant to the Web3 audience. Sometimes there's a point. There's actually a use case of NFT. That's why they, let's say like a ticketing company, right? They have to use it because it actually has a use case. So different things. So we want to get clear. And it's like, okay, what are you trying to do? Just tell us the truth. Maybe in front of other people, or on your Twitter, maybe you say something, but you don't mean it. But just tell us the truth, and it will tell you, here's how you can accomplish it. And sometimes also people say, hey, like this is a dollar amount of sales I want to make, and be like, okay, cool. Did you know, like you don't have to make all of it in one go. You can actually do it in like steps. You can do phases. You can do drops. McLaren calls them waves for their NFT project on Tezos. So those are some of the things, very basic things, right? Ask them, hey, like, what are you basically trying to get out of this? And then based on that, we get clear and we'll be able to assist them.
Okay, perfect. What are your view on the innovation? Where the space is going? What are the innovations that caught your attention recently? Or what are the things that you would love to see happening?
Specifically in the NFT space?
Yes.
Cool.
NFT or Web3. Are you doing anything for just for NFT, or even for a builder in Web3?
Yeah, so anything Web3, but majority of our projects have been NFTs, but we do have even like apps in the Web3, public company in the Web3, so on and so forth as well. And so I guess what I see is coming is a lot of things being tokenized. So the concept of participation in communities is already started. The POAPs that people talk about, but I see this taking it to the next level. Like it's going to be the evolution of that. I see in the upcoming year, the whole SEO, I guess, strategies, concepts, it's going to be completely different because every founder now has, and I don't mean just Web3 founders, but like in general, like every founder, has access to essentially like a machine that creates content. So there's going to be a war content, just these like every person has a lot of content, and then it's not like in the past where you would be limited to your capacity to how much you can write. Now you have machines that they can do this. I see that a lot of businesses. So I mean, so far we've had Red Bull, McLaren, almost all the car companies like Porsche, McLaren. Let's see. Audi, it's a spin of Audi. I don't think it's the Audi itself, but it's one of their subgroups of companies. Like every single car company is on Tezos already launched. Manchester United on Tezos, for example, launched. We've got on Ethereum, Lamborghini just launched. So all car companies already almost there. Then we have these airlines, almost all of them already there. So Etihad came, Emirates came. Social media companies already came. So I see that this is gonna, like, by the end of 2023, all these big companies gonna be already there. Like they're gonna have something. They're gonna have some sort of metaverse NFT projects, and then the decentralization. So because of this whole SPF stuff that happened, I see that the decentralization in the Web2 companies is just gonna explode. Like a lot of people going to want to have either DAOs structures, or they're going to have some form of decentralized structures where there's this one company I was looking at their stuff. It's solely, I guess, owned by the employees. And this is a very old company. I didn't even know this until like a few days ago. This has been around since 1992, but that's their newest brand, have been around since then. But so it's almost 30 years. But the older brand was actually even before that. So this is a very old company, has 3 million clients, and they've just created that structure. It's actually run by the employees, but not by like a centralized way. So it's not just one person, right? So I think that is going to be very, very apparent. But then as far as like technology itself, everything is going to come on top of the chat GPT. So Telegram, WhatsApp, like all these platforms, Twitter, everything is just going to have some sort of use case that people are just going to build on, whether producing things at mass or producing content or producing solutions or producing, like, for example, sales is going to be completely different right now. So instead of chatbots, you're going to have all these like really sophisticated robots that are going to talk to you. So those are some of the things I see. And then how these, appointment setting companies, they're going to implement it. These are going to be the technologies that are just going to be built on top of this just new evolution. Like ChatGPT is like Apple, like when it came out, like that's it's a completely new new thing, like the iPod, whatever it was. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. Thanks for the explanation. How long have you been running Sold Out?
Sold Out NFTs has been around since 2021.
Okay. And what are the things that you know right now that you will have that you would want to know at the beginning?
Oh yeah, there's a lot. I've been thinking about this lately. I actually did a lot of consulting, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to do obviously consulting for everyone at a, in length. Sometimes people would just get one consulting, get to the right path, and then move on. And sometimes that was enough. So looking back, the knowledge that I have, the experience that I have, I wish I had that when I started, because I would have been able to make a massive difference in the industry. But obviously we can't go back in time. So what we do instead now, we're just gonna. So I guess the lesson that I learned is just the capacity we have for learning. We got to expand it. We got to expand it so we can be above the common knowledge. So whatever that is, so we can actually impact and influence this industry going better. So that's something I've been thinking about a lot, actually.
Okay, and how could you enforce that?
How could I? Yeah, I mean,
yes.
So for example, one thing we did as a company, just I want to say it's been a few weeks we started doing this. We've gone ahead and every single contacts we have in Web3, which is a lot, we've started a conversation with them. And what we've created is just opening that dialogue with them and just say, hey, listen, we want to get to know what you're up to, what you're focused on, because what's been missing, and we can only talk about our own company, right? But what's been missing is just knowing there's so many people out there that they're trying to create things, and then if you just basically team up with these people and know exactly where they're at, then you'll be able to do things at a much larger scale. And so just like, for example, I did a Twitter space recently. I brought 30 DAOs in there. And then I just halfway into this, I just told them, I was like, hey, I bet you guys don't get to actually talk to each other. You guys all just focus on like creating, like basically evolving and progressing your own DAO, but you never talk to each other. Here's a time, you have 30 DAOs, you guys together, you got an audience. What do you want to ask each other? And then the questions were something like this. They were like, okay, you're a DAO. You don't have a boss telling you what to do. What are you doing next week? Like, what are you actually doing next week? What are some actionable steps, right? So we had City DAO and a bunch of other really cool DAOs in there. And these are the things that makes a difference, right? So this is like a big problem. These guys never talk to each other. They're all trying to like solve things on their own. But then now they started actually so since then, these guys have started actually talking to each other. They do spaces with each other. Now, sometimes they invite us too, but sometimes it's not the point like us going to every single place. But the point is, it's like these guys now, they get to actually do things on a larger scale because of the just pooled resources. So that is one way, is to just knowing that, okay, we're limited as far as capacity of, you know, how much we can learn and how much we can do. So what if we just really know what's out there, because we didn't, for example. Like that was my challenge. It's like I didn't. I was like clicking on these people's website. I'm like, wow, you do this? Like, that's really cool. Like, I wish I knew about this, right? So, and then just knowing that and just having people in our team to just be able to actually take that seriously on a day-to-day, like literally that's their job, to talk with these people and then figure out like, how can we help them? How can we move this industry forward? And then that's on the like a higher scale. And then on the bottom, it looks like actually being able to impact people, and because we have a lot more resources. Okay,
perfect. Makes sense. I just want to make a little shout out to the audience. So, Pedakin, I saw you, so I hope that you enjoy the discussion, and don't hesitate to ask any question to Arvin. As you can see, he have a big background with marketing. And Arvin, I want to use that opportunity to ask you, did there is something that you want to talk about and I didn't give you the opportunity?
I mean, I would say so we talked about case studies, we talked about paid advertising. Those are some of the things that a lot of times people are just like, oh, wow, you can sell out things in the bear market. That's crazy. I think those were the big things that we often create that shock factor for people that's like, oh, wow, this is still happening. We thought this industry is dead. And so I think that's it's been great. I appreciate you. I appreciate the questions you're asking, contribution you're making to the industry.
Okay, thank you. And just a last thing that I want to see with you. So I know that you say that every situation is different, every project is different, but let's say that there is a founder right now watching the show, even in maybe in live or either in a recording, and you have no clue of what it's up to. The only thing that you know, it is struggling to sell right now. What would be kind of the generic advice that you can do for him?
Yeah, so it's gonna come down to, like, you know, I mean, at its core, it's like, what have you done to build a community around this idea? And the problem is, like, when they ask that question, they either haven't built a community or they don't actually have an idea that people would want to be supporting. So, and that's really the question for themselves to ask themselves, and then they'll be able to figure out, you know, what's missing. It's like, is it community? Is it product? Is it white paper? Is it tokenomics, sustainability, choice of blockchain, price, so on and so forth, right? So it comes down to, it's like, if things are not working, what you've been doing up until now has been in a certain way, it's like you don't know what you don't know, right? So your blind spots. You just gotta know that. I guess be wise enough that just say, hey, what's not working? Then I should just stop doing that. I should do something different. I think that that's the context from where they can find new answers, and it's gonna be different for different people.
Okay, perfect. And last question, Arvin. Arvin, for you, what is a Web3?
Yeah, Web3 for me is decentralized. It's exciting. It's fast. Is expectations of everything to be done like a fast food, where you want to create a product. People in 15 minutes later they're like, well, so what happened? Is this done? Is this completed? Like that's the Web3 for me.
Okay, thank you for this last word. I hope that you enjoy the discussion. I'm going to end the show, and thank you again for your presence.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Bye, Arvin.
Bye.